Okay, so it's Wednesday afternoon. Yesterday I ran into Great Falls, where I put the tarp down just because the wind is kicking up. Occasionally, it's not right now, but pretty miserable morning, so that's just the way camping goes. So I had some work to do, so I just jumped in my truck, bought gas about 13 miles from here, and there's a strong signal there. It's one of those interesting fueling stations. There is no attendant, just automated pumps. So this is about 12-13 miles from camp. Unmanned gas station. Currently the one pump closest to the building is the only one that works. The other side doesn't seem to be working. But this is where you run to buy gas and where you can also get a very strong cell signal. So when I have to do something, I come here, I fill up, and I take care of computer business. So now the sun has come out as predicted in the afternoon. I figured out which weather frequency. So on the ham radio there are weather channels that you can pick up. Well, you can pick them up with any weather radio. But NOAA, what is that? National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, something like that. They broadcast these computerized weather forecasts. And this one was pretty accurate. So it's beautiful this afternoon. High's probably going to be in the 60s. But tonight 35 to 40 degrees, and it rained a lot last night and this morning, so I had to kind of change my plans. Like I mentioned, I just ran over, bought gas, and now that I'm leaving, I know the winds are supposed to be about 20 miles an hour, fortunately from the west, and this is the leeward side of that mountain, so hopefully I'll miss most of the wind, but it did pick up a few times sufficiently that I thought, lay down the poles so that doesn't rip itself apart while I'm gone. Did make a significant mistake this morning as I left. Again, I'm kind of tired, it's raining, 100 things in my mind, which I tend to do when I camp. Got 500 little things I'm trying to do in parallel. And when I came back, that blue tarp had blown to the other side of the table, which was a good thing, because I had left my shower water on the camp stove simmering. So fortunately there was no fire. When I came back, the tarp was on the other side and the wind had blown out the flame. So all I did was vent a small amount of propane. But rookie mistake, right? And you can see there, had the tarp caught fire, it would have burned up the whole tent and all the gear in it. So sometimes better lucky than good. Interestingly also, I stopped and visited the neighbors who gave me a lot of background on these sites. And you know, one rule of etiquette, you don't go into someone else's site. So I stopped at a distance to say hi. Unfortunately, I got both their dogs excited, who nearly knocked down their entire camp. But I sat and waited while the gentleman, his name is JR, was able to get him under control, and I'm glad I did make the effort to say hi. He's from the area, and he gave me a lot of good background. He said, yes, this time of year, these, and there's that wind picking up. I don't know if the windsock is protecting the sound, but you can see works pretty hard on that tarp. That's why I just lay down the poles at times like this. But he said, this is early in the season, and he said that's why these sites are available. He said come July, all of the sites down here would be occupied. He also said the primitive campsites that the local park ranger wants you to use, he said typically are full come July. He said people will pull an RV into one of those really awesome sites that I've been documenting 2 years ago and yesterday or 2 days ago. And he said, yeah, they just pull their RV in there on Memorial Day and leave it there till Labor Day, which even though the rule is 16 days, he said it's not well enforced. So that's good for me to know. I come out here in early June and I think, wow, this is the most available place ever. They also gave me some good local tips. We talked about bear safety. We talked about Montana is an open carry state, so I'm free to carry my rifle with me when I hike and not just bear spray. We talked about best defense against a bear and the fact that black bear here are rare and they do tend to be shy and run away. See, what else did he tell me that was useful? So these sites are not normally this available. He said it is an open carry state, so I don't have to leave the rifle in the truck while I'm hiking. I can carry it with me if I'm so inclined. He also went over the map with me and showed me some really great places that I had listed, some of them, but not most of them. So that's what I'm going to do now, is jump in the truck and go explore those areas, take a few hikes. And then he just asked, hey, do I mind them using the beach? I said, absolutely not. Thanks for asking. So they swung by here a little past lunch and did a little fly fishing right there on the what is locally known as the beach. So lots of good information just from talking to a nice neighbor. Okay, so my good camping neighbor JR gave me a suggestion on the map, and that's to take this scenic bypass. I think it's called Belt Creek Road or Belt Creek Drive, Belt Park Road. Just turned my head to look at the street sign, and you can see the sign there. Well, you probably can't on the GoPro, but and I can't zoom without stopping, but it's Begin Forest Road 6511 and 8 miles. And let's see, here's our road, and there's 6511. So then I look at Guy and remember, oh wait, I did do this 2 years ago, so I don't want to repeat, but he suggested going west basically after that. So that is actually what I had written to myself to go check out. That was point of interest number 7. The areas around 8 and 9 that I wrote here, and then 10 and 11 down here. I had only explored a little bit of that, and I do remember posting that picture there because accidentally give it a marked location. Because that's where it's a beautiful old abandoned log cabin, some very cool stuff. Okay, so it's gonna be a little different this time. I'm gonna come down, same area, instead of turning right, I'm gonna continue. So instead of turning left and continue and turn right as per his suggestions. So there's just all sorts of beautiful things to see there. He said you can kind of come back up if I go farther west off the map here, but well, I guess I can just, I think it was all the way over here. He said there's a large burn area that's very interesting to drive through. So that's what I'm going to do now here after lunch on Wednesday. It's almost 3 o'clock now. I'm going to spend an hour or two just kind of exploring to the west of where I explored 2 years ago. Okay, so right up ahead is that telltale sign, entering National Forest lands. This has been private land this scenic byway takes. This is the end of those 8 miles, and now Forest Road 6511. And just as I was going to give up, there he is. He popped right back up there. So this is one of those kind of happy circumstances. It's what my camping neighbor described to me. If you head up some of these routes, many of the trails will go deep in the forest along the mountain. Then there'll be a plateau with a prairie like this. Just absolutely beautiful. Just kind of opens up for you. It's really, really pretty out here. Okay, lots going on in camp today. So, slow start to the morning. It was so cold last night. It was close to freezing. I didn't get out of the sleeping bag to see if there was frost. I don't think there was, but the forecast was between 35 and 40. Okay, so nice neighbors yesterday. They were local in the dispersed campsite back through there. There's actually a little trail there to connect it to the beach. So he gave me all kinds of pointers that I had eventually I'd marked on the map, but he told me even more, like going farther and farther out here to the west. He said there's like a big burn area on the backside. I can't remember if it's here or like in here. So yesterday I got out into that, and you can kind of see I came down this road last time I was here, and I had explored this area. This time I continued down. I kind of came around these mountain roads. It's not always obviously easy to see. I came along this way, and then somewhere here I broke into these roads. So today I think I'm going to see about maybe entering farther south. I don't know, I might enter the same place up north, and this time I think I'm going to do what he suggested, head farther out west and see how far into this area, like Balsam River Creek and others he mentioned were good places to check out. So I think I'll check some of that out, lots of trailheads, maybe do a little hiking. Iron Mines Park, he mentioned a number of places in here that are very beautiful. Thunder Mountain, Bighorn Mountain. He named the name of the fire. I don't think it was the Balsinger fire, I can't remember. But in any event, he said you can still see a lot of the devastation in there. So we'll see what there is to see today. Again, late start. I might just bring a sandwich with me and stay out until early afternoon. Yeah, sometimes you have to get a kick out of a local trail modification. I assume this was not provided by the Forest Service. Kind of unfortunate if there's any car guys out there. I think that's like a 57 Nomad. Imagine someone would have wanted to have a shot at that sheet metal before it got all shot up. Sure, there's a story behind that. Looks like it was somebody's trailer for a period of time. Kind of an unusual choice for a trailer frame, but hey, who am I to criticize? And I believe just across the East Fork, this is the West Fork. So I thought that was very pretty. Not sure if that's, it looks like possible burn damage from some time ago, or maybe just, you know, flood, hard to tell. But yeah, you can just see there the West Fork of Wet Creek. Just more of the extraordinary beauty of the Little Belt Mountains. It's a great example of why you don't want to be pressed for time on these little adventures. You can see someone with what may have been a truck or a Jeep. Can't quite see where the right tire hit. May have been an ATV, just drove around. And I really don't want to be out here all day. Other stuff I want to explore. But I brought a chainsaw, and as a public service, I really should clear this. So I'm going to go ahead and take a minute here just to clear this deadfall. I probably should explain, I know that if the map is at all accurate, I'm going to have to turn around right up around that bend anyway. So I'm tempted just to turn around here. But hey, I've got it with me. I'll be a good neighbor here and I'll get this cleared. As you can see, most of the work was getting the chainsaw to start, which is a little disappointing. The Stihl is usually my trusty Easy Start chainsaw. Okay, I can't complain because it is truth in advertising. All the maps indicated that this would end, and it does, right short of a trail, which I don't think that's a Jeep trail anyway. But that's just the frustration. You've got multiple avenues here where you could continue if the Forest Service chose to connect them, so that this whole beautiful trail wouldn't be a dead end. But it is what it is. I suppose if you want to camp up here, you'd probably prefer it be a dead end. Just a minute ago, I cut that tree that was across it, and I thought, you know, I'm probably a quarter mile, half mile from where the trail ends anyway. And it was. But earlier, I had marked this as Explore number 8, and the local touristy Forest Service map also shows very clearly that this trail ends. It doesn't show you there's, like, I'm sorry, right here. Actually, it shows it, yeah, I guess they do show it continuing on here. This is 6407A, that's 6407. Regardless, this is clearly marked at the beginning. You kind of know you're not gonna get out of here. Oh, okay, so June 30th they would have opened this. And I see their point. This during erosion season. Oh, there you go. So that makes sense. I'm just here early. Had I come here later, this would be open, and I could probably drive the rest of it. Although I suspect it still ends for Jeeps. I think you just make a U-turn farther down. I'm just going to turn around, head back, and then, let's see, it's 3 o'clock. I'll probably drive where I drove yesterday, and this time try and push up farther over here. I'm always torn as to what I'm doing on these trips. Am I just having an easy scenic drive? Am I exploring every side turn for future visits to the Little Belt Mountains to know where there are good dispersed camping sites and what's where? And then in the middle I sometimes get torn and I'm running out of time, and I'm just, okay, well, am I going to stop and take this picture or not? So I'm making up my mind. Just like earlier, should I fly the drone? I was like, no, I don't have time. So here I'm just going to turn around, probably stop taking pictures and marking trails unless I see something truly spectacular, until I get to that kind of northwest, the opposite side of Monarch Mountain, that whole area. I think it's like Baldinger Pass, something like that. They had a big fire there, and people tell me it's still a pretty spectacular site. It was only a year or two that it burned, a year or two ago that it burned. A little bit of a mountain hailstorm here. I gotta keep my hands on the wheel and my eyes on the road. It's a shelf road, but you know, I'll just pull out here. Yeah, a little bit of a sense of, it's not severe, but yeah, you can see kind of small hail bouncing off the truck. You're not afraid of people at all. I think you're kind of looking for a handout. Thanks for stopping by. You know, your friends ran off. I didn't get a good shot. This is the kind of thing I'm looking for. This is a big burn area. I'm going to zoom there. Hopefully that's evident. So it's surrounded by green. I'm told it was not that long ago, like a year or two ago. And I think it's Balsinger. I think it's Balsinger Trailhead. And I believe they referred to it as the Balsinger Fire. So I'm just going to hike up here. The main Balsinger Trail is actually on the other side of the road. I marked it on Gaia. This is just where the trailhead is, you know, so I don't know if there's an overlook I'll come across to give a better sense of the overall burn area. You can hear squirrels chirping in the background, warning their friends there's a person afoot. But you can kind of see what it looks like where so I'm assuming what I'm looking at here is the avenue the fire tore up the hillside. So I don't know if there's a larger burn area. This is what I've seen so far, is little veins that climbed to the top, but then still living trees just off to the side. So I believe this is what the locals were telling me. So I've seen a couple of areas like this out here this year. And this is what they were calling the Balsinger Fire here at the Balsinger Trailhead. So that is pretty dramatic. All right, well, as I circled out of the parking lot, I realized this is the view. That's about as wide angle as I can get, but this is your best view. Again, it's a beautiful, misty time. It's about 40 degrees. But here's where you can really kind of get a better view of the zoom of the burn area. As I kind of zoom in there, you kind of get a better sense of what this looks like from the trailhead. Okay, there's Mama Elk who's all but posing for me. Oh, there she is. Now let's see if she'll stay still. I don't think that's a deer. That's got to be an elk. Let's see if I can zoom in. She's about to bolt. Oh, she went right behind those trees. Oh, you could just see her, There she is. There she is. So she was nice. She kind of came back out and posed for me, so I could try and get a better shot of her. I think that's as much as I'm up. There she is. Okay, she's kind of circling around, kind of trying to check out who I am. There she is. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate the These are the times I could live without the GoPro's interface. It took about 6 tries to get it to record this correctly, and each time there was an enormous lag, but that lovely lady ran right out in front of me. Fortunately, hit my brakes plenty of time. But then she ran along the road and then kind of ran up there, and again, was very kind and posed for me. Well, I pretty much stopped recording at that point because I had to make time and get back to Fiddle Camp in time for the student concert. The student concert is where all of the students who range in ages and experience, from very accomplished violinists or fiddlers to young kids. Well, on Thursday night at 7 p.m. they perform, and my wife is in it, so I absolutely could not be late. 2 years prior, when I had to get back, my CO2 tank ran out before I got to my 4th tire. So with my little backup compressor, I only got just enough air in it and just got in there pretty much as the concert started. So this time I was determined not to do that. Unfortunately, my Explorers had taken me very far north and west. So I don't have any video here of some of the incredible scenery that I encountered as I drove around, nor of any of the exciting footage as I drove faster than I otherwise would have, and then got surprised by deeply rutted roads. So I was sort of straddling dirt road ruts at 30-40 miles an hour, and then thinking I was in the clear, suddenly got back into really tight switchbacks again. So it was beautiful and wonderful, and Little Belt Mountains are amazing. But unfortunately, at that point, I had to stop filming so that I could get back to the concert in time. After the concert, the next morning we got up and we headed off west, ultimately heading out to Lebanon, Oregon. That portion of the trip will be the subject of my next video.
And we're going to bring out our fiddle students and tell you what they're up to.
We decided on the band name in the last 4 minutes, so what is it?
Alana and the Fire Fiddlers.
So it's great, it's wonderful, so incredibly fantastic to be here this week, and I was gifted with a fantastic set of players here.